Ha líon bharach de jaran rin lora go seo, a mesk seirse de bhrechgag de jarstin is geo yalbas. Ha cailtin uske is cailtin chalinach talú ísel ann.
Nevis, home to the UK's highest mountain and second highest waterfall. The vast range of geology and altitudes gives rise to a diversity of habitats, from Scottish rainforest and Caledonian forest in the lowlands, up to Arctic, alpine, montane scrub. And these habitats host legendary wildlife, including golden eagles, red squirrels, Atlantic salmon, and Highland cattle. It doesn't get much more iconic than this. Nestled in the outdoor capital of the UK, and with more than 500,000 visitors each year, there are many people that agree.
It's my home. Everything's special about it.
I love to take my family and friends to Ben Nevis.
Yeah, I've got a lot of memories here.
I'm a local through and through. I know every track, every glen, every walk in the area.
And I've always gone for runs up there. It's just like a quiet, accessible place for me.
It's just got a bit of everything.
Ben Nevis is an amazing asset to local businesses.
There's some amazing old trees out there.
It's a great place to take young people to decompress.
Something to be proud of.
With increasing recreational use in the wake of the COVID pandemic and the context of the current ecological and climate crisis, our community started to ask, are we safeguarding this landscape for future generations? What is the state of nature here? And could it be better for our community, for our wildlife, and for our climate? And how can we sustainably support high recreational use for the mountaineers, the runners, the walkers, the bikers, and the plodders? Nature Scot are responsible for tracking the health of our protected habitats.
In our recent surveys of the Ben Nevis protected sites, we found that the majority of the natural features were in unfavourable condition, which means they're in a poor state of health and struggling to thrive. 72% of the upland habitats and 100% of the woodland habitats surveyed were classed as being in unfavourable condition. The biggest threats identified were high impacts from deer and sheep grazing and invasive species like rhododendron. Erosion by recreational use is also an issue in parts of the site.
So, even though this landscape may look wild, many of our special habitats are degraded.
It makes me feel really sad that we're losing this natural habitat.
Just presumed that things would be thriving more because we're in such a beautiful area.
Really quite sad, and I wouldn't have thought that at all.
At the end of the day, we need to look after nature, and we need to look after what we was brought up around.
It seems like there could be more work to be done.
I feel really angry about that.
That is quite disturbing.
It makes me feel emotional.
I feel really disheartened. I really want to share this beautiful landscape with my son and future generations, and I think we can do better.
It would be amazing to see it brought back to its previous rainforest status.
Community charity, the Nevis Landscape Partnership, has teamed up with the largest landowners in the Nevis area to launch an ambitious nature restoration project.
We've recognised that in order to tackle our biggest ecological challenges, we have to work at the landscape scale and in partnership. That's why we're working with Johanna Highland Estate, Glen Nevis Estate, the John Muir Trust and Forestry and Land Scotland through the Nevis Nature Network project. Together, we'd like to restore a healthy and resilient network of native habitats across 22,000 acres.
So, specifically, what could this landscape be like? And what would we need to do to achieve this potential? We have enlisted specialists to answer these questions.
We conducted woodland surveys across the area and found that there's huge potential to restore native woodlands. Because of the ancient woodland remnants that are still here, there is huge seed source ready to go. However, high herbivore pressures are currently hindering the ability of young seedlings to grow. A collaborative herbivore management plan would enable large-scale woodland expansion here. We could also boost the abundance of rare tree species with targeted tree planting.
Montane scrub is a rare type of woodland habitat that occurs at high altitudes
between the tree line and the open hill. It is made up of scrub species such as dwarf juniper, rare willows and stunted birch trees. It's often associated with tall herb communities that look like alpine meadows. We searched the higher altitude land and found that we have many montane scrub populations peppered across the landscape, but their distribution is currently limited to inaccessible cliffs because of grazing pressures. This means that the populations are small and isolated. We could have much more of this rare habitat across the landscape.
Nevis has a fantastic network of footpaths which allows people from all over the world to explore and enjoy its beauty. With hundreds of thousands of visitors each year, we have to manage disturbance. We surveyed footpaths on designated habitats that are currently being degraded by high footfall and identified solutions to retain access whilst allowing the restoration of damaged habitats.
Invasive rhododendron ponticum is spreading into the Nevis landscape from the town and surrounding areas. This invasive bush is one of the biggest threats to nature in the rainforest zone. We have learned from experience that with community support, invasive rhododendron ponticum can be eliminated from this landscape.
Together, we've discovered that we have huge potential here. Just imagine what this landscape could look like in the future.
We could establish a new stronghold for Scotland's rainforest.
And a vast woodland network could connect the riparian forests along the River Nevis all the way up to the montane scrub high on Ben Nevis.
Meadows and wetlands could weave through the forest and explode with wildflowers each spring.
And what's most important is our communities and our visitors can continue to run, bike, climb, hill walk, swim through our landscape, exploring our habitats, and then taking in and enjoying all of our iconic species.
Inspired and informed by these findings, the Nevis Landscape Partnership is now writing a 100-year vision. This will determine how this iconic landscape will be managed for the future. For people, for wildlife, and for the climate. We want to hear from you. What would you like to see more of in Glen Nevis? Stay tuned and get involved. This project would not be possible without our 8 funders: the Scottish Government's Nature Restoration Fund, managed by NatureScot, Rewilding Britain, the Woodland Trust Scotland, Friends of Nevis, and our landowning partners.
Ha cailtin uisce is cailtin chalinneach talú ísio ann. Agus ha presin is cruúin sesfach talú ard. I ha bearst is náidir nach gána seo gainúile.